We are so back, John.
Yeah, man, that's like your go-to, by the way. Like every time we come back, you're just like, we are so back. It's like, you're shut the fuck up, John. I'm gonna go away. So this topic was suggested to us by our wonderful patrons.
Oh my gosh!
In our Discord here.
Join it for $1 a month,
and we'll never kick you up because you've seen how much we edit this. You really think I'm going to manage a Discord on top of it? Who has time for those things? Who even knows? But I mean, you guys are all wonderful, and as it says here,
we love our patrons.
Why on earth do people pay us? We don't know, but
that
thank
just
you.
happens sometimes.
But one of the things we wanted to know about was kind of one of our patrons asked, "What do you do when you are going to play in a tournament you know you're not going to win?"
Oh, okay.
Which is a unique take because we talk a lot about, and a lot of the other podcasts talk about, how to win, getting in there to win. But there is going to be like a percentage of players who show up, they know they're not going to win. So kind of what do from that point? I think I'm very skilled in this topic because I certainly like when I show up for a tournament, my initial thought isn't, man, I'm going to take this whole thing.
Me either. Totally.
Right. And I mean, and I think that's unique because you go in, you have like a long history of winning tournaments, kind of in like top 3-4 placings of kind of most of our tournaments up here.
Sure.
But you still have that kind of same attitude of not going in being like, hey, I'm going to go just smoke, like looking around at the field, like looking at the other armies and be like, oh yeah, I got this.
Oh yeah. I never make that determination because everything depends on what mission we're playing and what the table looks like.
Right.
So
for me personally, like that doesn't really matter. Either way.
But if I see armies, okay, so when you come to a tournament,
sure.
Do you look at armies and say, all right, how am I going to beat this?
So I think I've started to.
That's good.
Because that's what I got to do. Like beforehand, I would show up and be like, okay, Danny, Porter, Miller, like Taylor.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'll be like 8th, 9th, something like that. And kind of basing it on like who showed up.
Oh man,
more than anything else. But I think maybe that's more like a mindset thing for me. Like I like on
you
that.
should
there.
get yourself out of that. Don't see. So I have no expectations for myself.
Okay,
like I'm gonna do as good as I can, and then like if I win, I win. That's great. But I go into it with no expectations about my performance. Like I don't expect to win every single game, and if I lose a game, that happens sometimes.
Like I think I go into tournaments expecting to leave with a positive record. And that's about all I really ask for.
That's fair. I would say that I do generally expect myself to leave with a positive record, but there have been times where I have not.
Mm-hmm. Like a lot of times I go to like I've never gone 0-3 at a tournament.
I went 0-2 at a tournament.
I've always won at least one game. And like I said, I think maybe that's kind of I've always like come home and it was like my wife's like, "Did you win?" I'm like, "I won one." so technically, yeah, I did. And then there was that awful time where I came second, like a while ago, where I was running some weird Eldar jank.
Yeah, that was a good list.
It was a really good list.
Was that the one with Azerman?
It was Azerman and like 60 Dire Avengers.
It's a new hotness, man.
It's like we were talking about this. Like everything 8th edition is 9th edition now. Like early 8th lists are like just peak 9th right now.
Man, for real.
Yeah.
It's so true.
It's the worst. But like I came home and I was like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "Man," I was like, "I came second because I think I went 3-0 as well."
Nice.
And she was like, "Oh, cool. What happened?" It's like, "Well, I got like $60 in store credit." And she was like, "You mean that you could get money for playing this?" She's like, "I'm gonna need you to start trying way more." And I'm like, "But I am trying. I've been trying this whole time."
I'm so back. So like,
yeah.
So yeah, no, and I think like obviously tournament winnings are a big pro for winning events, but I don't know.
So I think there's the way I think it's less about people who go not knowing they're going, like knowing they're not going to win. I don't think that's the right way to phrase it. I think it's about people's expectations of the experience. Mm-hmm. So you have your group of people, and it's almost like we're split by teams up in Alaska anyway, like with our different like viewpoints and theories, who are, I'm here to win. Winning is what makes this fun.
Oh, sure.
I will have fun if I win. That's sort of like, that's group one.
Yeah, I am not definitely not like that.
Thankfully, I am not like that because otherwise I'd be very sad a lot of the time.
God, okay, yep.
You have group two who are going to get out of the house and have like a fun social time.
Man, I get to play 3 games in one day.
I get to play 3 games in one
Hell
day.
yeah.
That's me right there. That's what I'm all about. Because
Same.
especially because like up until very recently, I've had a work schedule where I'm like, man, I get to play 3 games in a week, in a month.
Right.
Heck yeah, we're gonna do this. And then you have group 3, and I think group 3 is where we're gonna focus. Group 3 are group 1 mindset. So they have the mindset of I'm gonna go and win everything.
Sure.
And then when they show up, they get their ass kicked round 1.
Okay. And then they drop.
And then they drop, and then they leave. And I think that ignores a lot of what it is. Because, yeah, tournaments are fun, and we're seeing more of a kind of a competitive aspect and kind of a more organized professional aspect.
Oh, for real.
To 40K coming in and then that growing. But that doesn't negate kind of the beer and pretzels vibe and kind of the fun social aspects of it.
Yeah. So, like, ultimately, you're playing this game to have a good time. Like, just to play the game should be fun.
Yeah.
That should be enough for a lot of people. I know that it's not.
No. So I think it's about managing your own expectations in a tournament environment.
Yeah.
When we went to LVO last year.
Right. Oh, yeah.
My personal goal was to win a game.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Right? That's
And you won 2, didn't you?
I did. I doubled my goal, and I boasted about that. You guys were all going about like how you went 4-2. Like Seth from the Dangly Boys went like 5-1 or something stupid like that. Or did he go 4-2
he went
as well?
4-2 as well.
Yeah, Tim, our friend, went 5-1.
Micah went 5-1.
Micah, for some,
It's fine. I'll get over it
yeah,
someday.
yeah.
I'm so jealous of you, Micah.
We're just jealous of you. You take these crazy lists we can't figure out, and then we try and talk down about them, but you do so much better than us.
I mean, I shouldn't talk shit because apparently it just whoops everything.
It just
that
works.
I do. Yeah,
it's perfect. It just
Magic.
works. But yeah, I was going around like the whole like day afterwards, being like, "Hey man, I doubled how I thought I was going to do. How did you do? I doubled my win rate. Just like phrasing it like that." But yeah, it's all about kind of framing your expectations. Yep. So, like, while the question came in, is like, what do you do when you know you're not going to win? Like, is that the most important thing to you in playing 40K? If it is, you need to adjust yourself out of the casual, this is just fun thing into the more professional, like, this is all that matters group. And then in doing that, you need to kind of commit a significant time investment to get it going, because you can get it there, but you better be playing 2 to 3 times a week.
Oh, more than that. I would say at least 3 times a week.
At least 3 times a week.
If you're going to be good.
Well, see, this is why I'm a 1 and 2 player.
Dude, it's so hard.
So you got to be playing frequently.
Yeah.
You got to eat, breathe, and sleep 40K. You got to be watching battle reports, watching streams, watching Twitches.
Yep.
And then, you're going to win, because you're going to, like, your life is going to be 40K.
Right. But then you miss out on the other stuff too.
And then, so.
Well, it depends just what your priority is there. And I think that you can be kind of in between those to a degree as well. I
would solidly put you in between.
Yeah, I mean, I care about winning, but at the same time, so to be totally honest, I think this year when I go to Vegas, I'm just going to go to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how I do at all. I really don't. I'm just going to go there. I'm going to play the army I want to. I'm going to do the best that I can. And I'm not going to worry about going 3-3.
So I'm going to go to Vegas this year because we're being positive and that we can go to Vegas this year.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes, please let us go to Vegas this year.
Please. I don't care what I have to sacrifice. I just want to go and have a fun time.
Inject me with all the experimental chemicals.
Yeah. Like, I'll take it. You want to put a tracking chip in me?
Do it.
Do I get to hug my bros and go to Vegas? Just do it right away. I want to beat my record last year.
Nice. That's a good goal.
But I mean, here's the thing. It's like, okay, I go with goals, but if I don't reach that, because at the end of the day, we can have these goals and we can have these lofty aspirations, but I am still spending in a RTT 10 hours with a group of people I really like to be around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And enjoying myself.
Yep. That's so important.
That is the most important thing. And I think it speaks to the community we created up here.
Oh, we did so, yeah.
That even we have 3 teams up here now? 4?
We have 4 or 5.
Yeah, we have 4 or 5 different comp teams. I get on pretty much with every single person on those teams.
Yeah, I would say so for the most part.
For the most part. Obviously, there's 1 or 2 is but like, and I think what's great is they've been split along this divide of like, this team is more focused on the hyper competitive.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This team is more focused on the casual side of it.
Yep.
This team is more of like a hybrid one.
Yep.
And it's just, and then I love the kind of natural progression of that there.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it goes to, as Danny said.
Well, like 10 dads, they're like type 3, right?
What's a 10 dad?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
I was putting together a random collection of words.
It's not a real team. But I think, more to Danny's point, players who win often don't go with the expectation of winning.
I'm sure it depends, but yes.
I'm sure it depends, but on the most part, like I know, like if you look at your the kind of the highbrow professional 40K and the Art of War people,
sure.
I'm sure when they go to say an LVO, winning's on their mind,
Right.
but it isn't the be all and end all of that time.
Yeah, I think they go to have fun too.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. So, like I said, I think we have to realize that although the hobby is becoming more and more professional and organized and competitive, it still needs to kind of keep that. We just show up and have fun, and what happens happens.
Right. And there's always going to be those players too, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that those represent way more the vast majority of people that play this game.
For sure.
So I think going into a tournament with an open mind, and like if you want to put expectations on yourself, then you move yourself from that second camp right into the first camp where winning is the important part of this. Right?
And there are people out there like you, and the best thing you can do is find those people and form teams and get together.
For sure. And don't be adversarial, right? You can still be a good sport and really care about winning.
For sure. And I think we were talking about it earlier. I watched an Art of War stream where it was like a Siegler game where that dude did so many takebacks that like he was playing chess like against himself. Because there was like a model. He was like, I'm sure you were meant to move this unit onto this objective, right?
Right.
And the guy was like, yeah. I'm like, cool. Just go move that there. I'm sure you're meant to do this, right? Like, yeah. And it's just, there's just finally, I mean, we've wandered far away from the initial question, but I think it's gone into like a greater topic of like general sportsmanship.
Overall, it's really
an overall
and an attitude that you take towards the game, right? And I think that that's an important way to think about what your experience is, because we're all sacrificing a lot of our time, money, energy that we put into this hobby, and so getting the most out of it, like should be your number one priority,
right? And I think realizing it's a 2-person experience.
Yes, that's very important to remember.
And just, reading the table and what's fun for you isn't great for the other person.
It's true.
And I will say, like, up here, Rob Porter, very hyper-competitive minded player. Winning is very strongly on his needs and musts lists.
Right.
But when I play against him, it's not a bad experience because that's taken into account.
Right.
So just making sure that the entire thing is fun is still taken into account there. So realizing that like what the other person's bringing, and like say for example when I play Taylor on our team, like we can be hyper competitive,
right?
And it's really annoying to play a game next to me and Taylor playing each other because we just yell at each other. But again, it's kind of like adjusting your energy for the day,
right? Well, yeah, and making sure that you're tempering expectations, like. For yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's important. Like, that's the reason I'm going into it with kind of a more laissez-faire attitude. Like, we'll just let it go how it goes. Kind of keep the hands off, right?
Man, we almost need to go to this wonderful Patreon money and go to see like a life coach who can help us form smart tournament goals.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Right. Because
what we need is a sports coach.
We need a sports coach.
We could hire one.
We'll hire a sports coach. If you want to be our sports coach, let us know.
Yeah, for real.
For real. And it's just, again, it's what do you want to get out of the day? Like that's my thing. Like I know I'm not going to win when I go to a tournament, but I know what I want to get out of the tournament.
Sure.
And for me, that's not necessarily winning. That's getting 3 games in and playing against some really great people.
Yep.
And sometimes some not so great people. But, we can manage those. We manage those separately.
You gotta roll the dice sometimes.
But yeah, what about you guys? When you go to a tournament, what are your expectations? Do you go in with an attitude like, yeah, what happens, happens? Do you go in knowing you're not going to win the whole thing? Like, how do you manage that?
Yep.
Like, where do you even go? Let us know in the comments. Reply to us. Email us.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Tweet us.
Fuck, it's a free world.
Send us a voicemail.
Maybe not that. How would you get our phone number?
Okay.